Hello, I'm Ryan Snow, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use Zeta Players in a team game thing. You know, the ones I do videos on. Also, this is the first time you'll be hearing my voice, so hello. So anyway, let's get started. So before I tell you how to set up the settings for Zeta Players, first you need to download the actual mod, Zeta Players Sandbox Nextbots. As you can see, there is no requirements, so it should be a straightforward subscription. I also have to tell you that the creator is actually making a newer version for Zeta Players, the Lambda Players. But as of right now, there seems to be no team game mode module. This actually runs on modules. There's actually a team game module here, but it's not quite the ones you see in Zeta Players. So just keep that in mind. So this tutorial is more on Zeta Players for now. Also, what I would recommend you to download is the Modern Warfare 2 scoreboard. This will help you see the active Zetas much better, as you can see here. So here I'll try spawning a Zeta player. So as you can see the scoreboard here, Modern Warfare 2 scoreboard. There we go. So another thing I have to show you is the games I have mounted on. So what I have mounted on right now is Counter-Strike Source, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Episode 2, and Team Fortress 2. I'm not sure if you actually need these games mounted, but these are kind of like the core standard in Garry's mod. So most of the content you find in the workshop actually relies on these games mounted, especially Counter-Strike Source. If you're planning to buy Gmod, you should always get Counter-Strike Source. So yeah. And so without further ado, let's begin the tutorial on how I set up my Zeta Player game modes. Also, another thing, just a disclaimer, this is my first time speaking like this, so pardon me if I sound nervous, jittery, whatever. So yeah. So before we start, you need to set up a Zeta Player game mode. You need a map with a nav mesh, not AI nodes. AI nodes are kind of different in a way. What you need is a nav mesh, a navigation mesh. So keep that in mind when you download the map. The GM construct, the default map you have right now, actually has a nav mesh and AI node. So this can be good for setting up Zeta Player game modes. So just keep that in mind. What you first need to set up a Zeta Player game mode is a map with a nav mesh. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be using GM2 for 2003 Extended, this map right here. So, and let's start. Okay, so here we are. Let's start. Oh, one thing. If a map does not have a nav mesh, you can use the command nav generate to generate a nav mesh for that map. If you're dead insistent on using that map without a nav mesh, just keep in mind that when you do this, your game will freeze a bit depending on how large the map is. So this command will help you generate a nav mesh for maps. So next, I'll be showing you the settings I have in my Zeta Player tab. You can use presets so that it'll be much easier to manage these settings. Right now I have my default settings loaded. My team game settings preset here is the settings I use to set up the game modes that I use for Zeta Players. So I'm going to apply this preset. Hold on. And I'm going to turn this off because map wide spawning is when the Zeta players will spawn naturally in the map. As you can see here, a Zeta player is connected. I'm going to be turning that on last, so yeah. Each of these has different functions. I'll be explaining it to you. Hopefully you can follow. Or if you're only interested in what settings I use to set up my game modes, you can mute this video. If you don't want to hear my voice, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry. So let's start. And don't worry. If you want a specific option, if you need specific options, I'll be putting chapters in the video, so don't worry about that. Alright, let's start. So about and credits, you can ignore this. This is the credits of the mod, who made this mod, contributed, blah blah blah. Admin enforcement. If you're going to be playing a game mode with Zeta players, you should turn this off. Like, right now it's keeping my default settings, treat you as owner, allow god mode, blah, blah, blah. But allow admins, this one should be off. You're not going to be using admins when you're setting up game modes like Capture the Flag or King of the Hill, Team Deathmatch. There will be no admins, so this should be turned off. Spawning of props, build in this tab. Spawning of props, spawning of entities, spawning of NPCs. No, there shouldn't be any spawning. You're supposed to be using your Zeta players as players in the game mode. So if you should only turn these on if you're going to be using Zeta players in a sandbox context. Right now we're using them in a team game context, so we should turn this off. You can use these ones. That depends on you if you want them to heal or provide armor for themselves. Allow use plus and props, not necessary, but I just left it on. Sprays, if you want a full experience and you have sprays, custom loaded sprays, you can turn this on. Fizz gun on overworld does not matter. We're going to disable their fizz gun anyway. A large props, blah blah blah. The important thing is they shouldn't be allowed to spawn props, entities, or NPCs or vehicles. Combat options, allow random attacking. Actually, these three don't really matter. They're going to be attacking anyway due to the team system. Experimental combat behavior, I turned this on. I don't really see a difference in turning it off, but it sounded fun, so I have it turned on either way. Panic B-hop, I turned this off. You can turn it on. Fleeing from next bots, ignore other Zeta, strafing. These are all options that will entirely depend on you. If you want to spawn a next bot during a team deathmatch, go right ahead. And you want the Zeta players to flee, you can turn on these options. Always hunt, always target NPCs, does not matter. These options are entirely up to you. Oh, no. Sorry, I'm sorry. sorry. These options are actually not that important. It's going to be handled by the team system. Switch to throw grenades, this is up to you. If you want Zeta players to be using a quick nade feature, or you want them to have a grenade as an actual weapon. For debug tools, I ignore these. I'm not that smart enough for these. Equipment options. I'm going to ignore the weapon creator. I have not experimented on this yet. That will be up to you. For the weapons, this will be all up to you as well. The important thing you should disable are fist gun, tool gun, camera flashing, and camera. And maybe bug bait. Yeah, those are the important ones that you have to turn off. So this will ensure that they will be using damage weapons. And for example, and if by any chance you don't want them to use overpowered weapons such as RPGs, lightsabers, the source cut, motivation katana, if you don't want them to be kinda overpowered, you can disable these. I have them turned on because why not? For the force options, you can ignore this. Friend system, in the team game, you shouldn't have, the Zeta players shouldn't have friends. I'm sorry, that's sad to hear, but you have to disable this so there will be no incompatibilities between other teams. And that's it. Friend color, it does not matter, that's all up to you. General Zeta settings: spawner save identity, draw flashlights, custom profile pictures. If you have ones, you can turn this on. No repeating, no show profile, enable drowning, that's on a water map, fall damage, blah, blah, blah. Profile system: if you want a specific Zeta player to have a specific loadout, player model, voice, you can use this. Media requests, kill binds, casual looking, panic fire, blah, blah, blah. So as I said, you can mute this video if you don't want to hear me. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be scrolling them so you can pause at the right moment and set it accordingly. And if you don't, if you can set them accordingly, and yeah. Map wide spawning, I'm going to be turning this on last so that they won't spawn naturally right now. Random spawn rate, time based MWS, spawn at player points, minch by variant, blah, blah, blah. Either way, this should be last so that they won't bother you when you're setting the games up. And yeah, the spawn as for the spawn points, I'm going to be explaining that later. Movement options: disable no clip. They shouldn't no clip. Ignore small nav areas, dynamic pathfinding. If these are personal preference, dynamic pathfinding, I'm not really sure. I never turned this on. Clear path, D-step support. Again, this is all up to you. Music box, they are not playing music during a team deathmatch. Other, here you'll find the preset, connect messages, prevent blah blah blah. Find poker, they are not playing poker. They turn this off. They shouldn't panic during a fight so that you can have a semi-real experience in a multiplayer game. So turn this off. Show connect messages, turn this on so you can have a genuine experience. Personality options, I don't use this. Player model. Okay, so if you downloaded custom player models and you want them to use it instead of the default Half-Life 2 ones, for example, like here. If you're going to turn this off, they're going to be within these models only. However, if you turn it on, it will gather player models from your add-ons. So anything you downloaded, including the Half-Life 2 ones, they're going to be the player models that will use the Zeta players will use. Register panels. Okay, so here in the register panels, this is mostly sandboxing, but I'm going to be focusing on team panel. For team panel, if you're going to be making a Zeta player team game mode, you're going to need teams. Right now I have 2, and you can create a new one. So team name, let's say House Forest, and then you can set the color of their team, so green. As for team model, you can select for the team model. This is when you want them to have a uniform model. So let's say I want to use this one. I'm going to copy this to clipboard and then set House Forest with that model. and this color, and yeah. Also, welcome to the team panel. Your current team is House Snow. So if you want to be in a certain team, you have to choose. So you can set your team as House Carver or House Forest or House Snow. So yeah. So remember, you need teams. So yeah. Team and data panel. This one is when you're creating spawn points or capture the flags. You can use this to save a setting on a certain map. So I actually have right now my setting for this. So once I click this, once I upload the selected file, it will create spawn points on the opposing bases along with a flag in the middle here. So next is, let's go to team system. Enable team system. Of course, you're going to be in a team. So and draw team halo, draw team name, teams always attack, players 1 at team points. You show cost points, and here is where you can set up the games that you want to play with your Zeta players. And team panel and team and data is also here for convenience. Friendly fire, stick near team. This is all up to you. I turned them off personally. Text chat options, allow text chat of you'd want to see their chat reactions when they get killed. So allow text chat, connect lines, disconnect lines, interrupting, sentence mixing. These are all for fun. That is all up to you. ToolGun options does not matter. They're not going to be using a tool gun. Utilities, corpse cleanup effect. I turned this off. I don't want that effect that when that they disintegrate. I don't want that. Corpse cleanup, kill or touch, no draw. Yeah. Voice options, alternate death sounds, alternate. Yeah, you turn this on so you can have a genuine multiplayer experience. Zeta stats, ignore this. Few shots. Yeah, prepare. So now that you've seen all the options, I hope that you understood them. Sorry if I sound nervous. This is my first time speaking in a video like this. And okay, so next we move on to how to create the game modes for Zeta players. Okay, so here I am in the blue base. So in order to set up your game modes, it's going to be in this. You're going to need to go to the Zeta Players tool tab in the tools. You're going to need a team spawn creator and set them up accordingly and set them up appropriately. So my team House Snow will be set up in this blue base, so you can spawn as many of these, don't worry. Yeah, and then you're going to need the opposing team, so they'll be here. Right, so now that that's done, we're going to need them to create okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm nervous. Don't mind me. Okay, so sorry about that. Now that we're done with that, so there will be 3 game modes you can play with your Zeta players. There's Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, and Team Deathmatch. For Team Deathmatch, all you really need are the spawn points. So if you want to play Team Deathmatch with your Zeta players, there's nothing else needed. All that's needed are the spawn points. For Capture King of the Hill, you need a King of the Hill marker. So choose this tool and then set the point name center bridge. So that's going to be the module where the Zeta players will fight for. So let's see. right now I'm capturing it. There. So you can see that. This is for King of the Hill. If you want to play Capture the Flag, you need a flag maker. So you can set the flag to whatever team is. It can be neutral or the respective teams. You can have a custom name for the flag. Let's say Intel. Allow pickup, of course. But if you don't allow pickup, you can set a capture zone. So it'll be up to you how you choose to approach it. So let's say I want to use this model. Oh, no. This model. So copy to clipboard. I'll be using this custom model and it'll be for my team. So there you go. And for the opposing team, oh wait, shit, that's the wrong one. Sorry. There we go. So I'm going to try to take a flag. Here. There we go. So that's needed if you want to play Capture the Flag with Zeta Players. So that's pretty much it. You've now learned how to make, or at least set up, the game modes for your Zeta Players. So in Team System, this is where you set up the game. You can set up a Capture King of the Hill game, Capture the Flag game, and a Team Deathmatch game. So I hope this tutorial helped you. Again, I'm sorry for having a nervous voice. So let's try spawning them first. Hold on. So if the settings are correct, the opposing team will have the model that I set, the monk one. So first spawn is my own. There we go.
If you're allergic to peanuts, you might want to tell somebody now, because this next test may turn your blood into peanut water for a few minutes.
That's great,
On
man.
the bright side, if we can make this happen, they're going to have to invent a new type of Nobel Prize to give us. So, hang in there.
You can adjust the settings if it takes too long to spawn them, so I'll try turning these off. There you go. This is not... The reason they're A-posing right now is because they're not using the model that I assigned. So, turns out, you're not supposed to be using these. You're supposed to be using a player model version of it. Hello. So, there we go. So, once again, I hope that helped you and answered your questions in the previous comments in my other Gmod videos. So there we go. So to make this kind of official, I'm going to be playing a short, let's say 5-minute team deathmatch game mode with the Zeta Players. So enjoy. Okay, so before I start my games, before I start map-wide spawning, max natural zetas, I choose 11. You can set this higher if your computer can handle it. So, yeah. Let's begin.
Don't even think about setting off an alarm. Oh, that was a...
So anyway, that's the end of the video. You can use other add-ons to improve your experience with Zeta Players. Like for example, you can use animation and certain player animations such as here when I'm shift running, slide. There's even a vault there. Also, you can have kill moves, you can put music, it's really anything. This is highly customizable and I encourage you to experiment with it. So yeah, that's it for my basic tutorial for how I set up my Zeta Player game modes. So yeah, I'm on God mode right now, they can't kill me. So yeah, thank you. Thank you once again for watching this video and hope you have a great day.